What's happening, people, and welcome back to the Rambling Dad podcast. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you smash that like button, and turn on the bell for notifications. Last night, we had UFC 311 live from the Inuit Dome. That was an incredible card. There was a lot of upsets, a lot of random things happening. I think everybody's picks went up through the air, down the toilet, out the window. Like, it was nuts. And not many of my picks came in. I know that for a fact. And from what I've seen on Twitter and on other social platforms, a lot of other people made picks that just went opposite ways. It was a wild card. We had plenty of decisions. I think to start off the night, we had 5 decisions, but we weren't complaining because they were all pretty much bangers, you know what I mean? Then we also had a couple of submissions in there and a few finishes. But without further ado, let's get stuck into this card, people. So you see there, Islam Makhachev versus Renato Moicano. Obviously, this was meant to be armantsarukyan, but he pulled out 1 day before this fight was meant to start because he had a bad back.
Oh my God, oh my God, oh I'm hurt, oh God! Oh I'm hurt, oh my neck, my back, my neck and my back, oh!
God knows what happened. 1 day out, you were cutting weight, and all of a sudden he never pulled up and had the fight. So Dana wasn't best too pleased. From what he said in the press conference, Arman's not going to be getting a title shot next. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board, see what they do. He's going to have 1, maybe 2 fights, and then see where he goes from there. But let's just have a quick run over this card and just discuss some of the fights that we've seen on there. So let's scroll on down to the early prelim. So we start. What is all this crap?
Holy Jesus! What is that? What the f*** is that?
Random data entries. What is this? The UFC website's always all over the place, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, we had Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. So man, I picked Clayton Carpenter in this one. Tagir Ulanbekov is really good, but I thought Clayton Carpenter should have enough wrestling, enough grappling pedigree, and an extra little bit of power in the strikes. But the height difference, the reach difference seemed to make the difference. You know what I mean? So you look at their total strikes, weren't too far away from each other. What I did really like about Clayton Carpenter was that rubber guard that he was throwing up in that first round when Tagir managed to take him down. And then it was just pretty much the same through the fight. He had some good moments on the feet. Tagir's striking was pretty good too. The grappling was the heavy part of it. As you can see there was only 1 takedown from Tagir and 1 takedown from Clayton as well. But for the majority of this fight, of the 3 rounds, it felt like they were on the floor. Like I say, once Tagir managed to get the takedown, they've only recorded 1, but there was a trip or 2 in there, you know what I mean? So once they were down on the ground, Tagir had very, very dominant top pressure. Clayton Carpenter was struggling to get underneath from underneath him, but what he did really well, like I say, in that rubber guard, he was breaking his posture, he was bringing him down, he was throwing elbows from the bottom, he was being very active from where he was, but he was struggling to get out from underneath him. He did have some success whilst he was on top of him for a little bit, but kind of went the way it went. You know what I mean? I thought Clayton Carpenter as a dog in this one should be able to get it done. Unfortunately, it never went my way, so there was my first pick down the toilet on this card. Let me know your thoughts on this fight, people. I thought it was pretty good to set the tone to start the night, especially when we had so many Dagestanis, so many grapplers and wrestlers on it. I thought, right, this is how it's going to look for the rest of the night. Moving on from that one, and we had, let me get past all this random crap. What is going on? Is this thing's wild, isn't it? Are we just totally, right, okay. So they've input this twice, but it's not actually brought up like the data card that you've got here. Somebody needs to get sacked. So we'll stick here so we can see the 2 of them at the side. We had rookie Turkios versus Bernardo Sapage, whatever you want to call him. Mate, this was an absolute banger. Sapage looked strong, but Ricky just stayed in his face.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Constantly, it was that way. It was getting to the end of the 2nd round, into the 3rd round, and Sapage standing there, he's huffing, he's puffing, and he's just looking at this dude. Why can't I get him away? Why is this guy just still in my face and pushing forward? And he just couldn't get the finish on him at all. There was moments where it seemed like Ricky had cracked him, he'd hurt him, especially when he started gassing. I thought he might be able to capitalize a little bit here moving into the 3rd round. Unfortunately for him, and unfortunately for me, because it was another one of my picks, it never quite went that way. I was looking at this going, Sapaya obviously came into the UFC, lost out against Vinicius for that. ridiculous knee up the middle.
Unity launches in the air. Boom!
To get finished, and probably one of the 2024 knockouts of the year contenders. And then he comes into this one. I thought he's maybe still a little bit too green. Ricky's had some experience behind him. He's been in the UFC a little bit longer. And as we've seen in the fight, the dude just doesn't go away. He'll keep coming forward. He's very unorthodox. He throws a lot of random stuff at you. You don't know which way he's coming at times. There was big flying knees in the middle of that fight and everything. It was a wicked fight to set the tone for some striking matches anyway, I'll tell you that. I thought second fight of the night. Definitely a contender up there for last night's card. As we move on from that, we had Rinya Nakamura versus Marine Gafarov. Bro, everybody was high on Rinya Nakamura, including myself. Marine Gafarov have different plans for everybody else's parlays and picks. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Rinya, solid wrestler. Unbelievable striking. Got some power in his hands. He can knock you out anyway, like most people, any way he wants. He was undefeated going into this fight. Marine Gafarov took all of that clout and just went, nah, not tonight, son. Drop this man. I don't know how many times he got it. Like, apparently no knockdowns. He dropped this man several times throughout this fight. You know what I mean? It was unreal. The grappling was too much for Rinya. As soon as he went down, the Marine was getting on top of him. Rinya couldn't get out from underneath him. And he was just, but when you're looking at the total strikes, which is wild, you see him 59 to 28. It did not look that way whilst we were watching the fight. It was very one-sided looking. It was very dominant for Marine Gafarov. And it was an unbelievable performance for him. Like I say, 3 decisions already at the start of the card, but you weren't angry at any one of them because all 3 of those first fights were unbelievable, people. They were wild. I really enjoyed that fight. Rinya, he'll come back. You know what I mean? He's had his first loss. But Marine Gafarov, hats off to you, son. That was perfect. That was an unbelievable underdog to come out and get that done when all the cards were stacked against you by everybody's picks from Rinya Nakamura. We moved into the women's bantamweight bout with Eileen Perez versus Carol Rosa. I picked Carol Rosa in this one. So here I am, sitting there, watching these fights, going 0-4.
Staring at the ceiling in the dark, same old empty feeling in your heart.
It's been a long time since I've had a night like this, and I'm sure a lot of other people felt the same. I felt like Carol Rosa was going to come in here and have a dominant striking performance over Aileen Perez.
No.
Off the bat. But Aileen Perez needs to get in close. She needs to get into the grappling exchanges. She needs to take her down. And she really needs to make that her game plan if she wants to see a victory here. Man, as soon as that fight started, Aileen Perez went in, caught her. Carol Rosa lost on her feet. She was struggling to stop her from closing the distance. She wasn't being able to keep the range. Aileen Perez took her down, done what she needed to do from that point onwards. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie, though. I did miss part of the second round or most of the second round because the daddy duties wouldn't be the rambling dad without having to go and change a nappy or doing something like that. You know what I mean? So I missed part of the fight. But when I came back, the third round was pretty much where I'd left the first round as well, to be honest. You know what I mean? Aileen Perez was on top and she was just dominating the fight. Even in the striking on the feet, like I say, Carol Rosa just couldn't find a rhythm, like, especially from fights that we've seen her. If you go back to that Irene Aldana fight, there wasn't that volume, there wasn't that output, there wasn't the tenacity, and there wasn't the, didn't seem to be the hunger and the drive to be getting that fight. Maybe I missed something because Aileen Perez did have a big welt on her head, I noticed, while she was getting interviewed. So I definitely missed something in that second round. But from what I could see from those 2 rounds, very good performance for Aileen Perez. Where's she going to go next? And unlucky for Carol Rosa. And again, unlucky for my picks. Let's jump on to the next one, people. So that was the end of the early prelims. And then we came into this fight with Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. And Grant Dawson done Grant Dawson things. You know what I mean? He went in there. He was looking very good with the grappling. As always, took him down. He was striking on him. He was doing what he had to do. He had him up against the cage. He was landing some heavy elbows. He was doing really, really well in this fight. As it moved on into the second and third round, Diego Ferreira had his pockets of striking moments that he could have done some damage. There was a time in the third round when I was looking at it, and Diego started landing on him. They started just swinging for the fences at each other, and I thought, nah, Grant, like, you need to stick to your game plan, son. Back up, back out a little bit. Stick to what you know. You know what I mean? You've been here long enough. You've fought enough dudes. And again, Grant Dawson doing Grant Dawson things. So I can't really complain with that finish, with that result at all. You know what I mean? Unanimous decision. 3-round once again. Let's get on to the next one, people. There we go with Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Elakana. So Billy Elakana, and this thing is going to be playing up on me, as always, like the UFC website likes to do. Billy Elakana, I couldn't actually find too much about this boy before we went in there.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
And he didn't look too bad once the fight had started. He actually had a bit of success at the start of that first round. And then Bogdan managed to get out from underneath him. He swept him or whatever he'd done, and ended up getting the submission himself. I can't remember what it was. Rear naked choke? Maybe. Some kind of choke anyway, I believe. But yeah, Billy actually looked really good to start the fight off, and Bogdan was like, holy shit. And then boom, I think Bogdan landed a big hand on him. Or was it not against the fence? He went up. Was it a gilly? A gilly against the fence? Something like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, second round finish for Bogdan Guskov. Again, I'd picked Bogdan on this. So, I also picked Grant Dawson. So Grant Dawson was my first fight that came in. Bogdan Guskov was my second fight that came in. But he had me nervous in that first round at the start. I thought, damn, Billy Elakana was maybe going to start rinsing him and taking that fight to places that we didn't want to see Bogdan Guskov go, but the dude's got power in his hands, and he's got that submission threat there as well. But I think Billy Elakana was going down on one knee. He didn't want any more. It might have even been a body shot as well, that he was just like, no, I'm out.
I'm done. Cut the show.
And he was just like down, and he was looking up at him, and to be honest, it wasn't that exciting. It wasn't really great to see him sitting doing that in his debut. I believe he did move up though. I think he moved up from middleweight to light heavyweight for this fight. So I mean, even at that, bro, like, you can't be going down on one knee and just kind of looking at the dude like, come on then. Like, nah, bro, you're down on one knee. Get up. I wish they had soccer kicks or football kicks, as we'd call them in the UK, in the UFC, because that would just negate and stop anybody from trying to just sit down there on one knee and just not wanting to get into a grappling exchange, but also not wanting to get up and strike. Yeah, I mean, like, if Bogdan could have just go boff and booted him in the face, that would have been a massive, massive difference.
I've been asking for it for years.
But he got the job done anyway. Billy kind of just gave up as it went on. I don't know if he was gassed or what, but yeah, good win for Bogdan on that one. And the first finish of the night for the card as well. We then moved on to the middleweight bout. Zachary Reese versus Azamat Bekoev. Bro, again, Zachary Reese was another dog that I picked. And if anybody watches the show already, you know that I work alongside the Fight Week show, Crossover MMA, MMA Anomaly, S-Dogs MMA, Making the Walk, Head Kick Podcast. There's a whole range of us. Cage Scribe, there's loads of us, and we're all in an underdogs competition. And it is, you make your pick, you get 1 point. You pick 3 dogs minimum. You have to have 3 underdogs on the card. You have as many as you want, but you got to have 3. And then if you pick one of those underdogs to be your dog of the week, that'll give you 3 points rather than 1 point. Zachary Reese was my dog of the week. I thought Azamat Bekoev, coming into this UFC debut, and again, goes back to the old start of, there's not many people out there that come into the UFC and win the first fight. Zachary Reese, well-rounded, good striking, good grappling, plenty of experience in the UFC so far. I think he's 2-2. You know what I mean? Like, not the greatest record, but he's come up against some pretty decent opponents. So I was like, right, Zachary Reese should be able to get this one done. Let's have a look at this bang. Right, dog of the week there. I reckon he'll get it. Coming in as a dog for somebody making the debut seemed a bit crazy to me. So the fight started. Boom. And it was done within 1 minute and 56 seconds. Azamat Bekoev absolutely flatlined this brother.
You got knocked the fuck out!
I couldn't believe it. Just dropped him on his ass, and I was like, whoop, well, there it goes. There goes my dog of the week. And there goes another pick that I've made on this card that just didn't land. And it was just one of those nights. Like, a lot of the boys on the competition, we had similar picks. You know what I mean? There's 8 of us making picks. We've all got similar mindsets. We all look at things in kind of the same way. We will make different picks here and there. Our underdogs will be different. But generally, we've got the same thought process when it comes to fights. A few of us had Zachary Reese. A couple of us had him as the dog of the week. And unfortunately, that never came in. So
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I'll wipe up my tears and I'll recover and come back next week We then moved on to Peyton Talbot versus Ronnie Barcelos. Now, Peyton Talbot was the biggest favorite on this card via the bookies. You looked at any kind of betting odds anywhere, and Peyton Talbot was up there. And quite right, you know what I mean? Peyton Talbot has been on an absolute tear. He's been stopping people in the first round for I don't know how long now. Coming up against Ronnie Barcelos, though, who is a vet, you know what I mean? A legend at this point. He has gone in against unbelievable opponents in the past. He's fought the who's who, and it really was Peyton Talbot's like toughest test yet, and this was going to be the let's see if this guy's ready, let's see where he's standing, and let's see if he can get past Ronnie Barcelos. He could not. Ronnie Barcelos absolutely dominated in that fight, whether it was on the feet or whether it was on the ground. Peyton Talbot just looked a little bit lost, especially on the ground too. I think the grappling exchanges, when it came into those, and the wrestling, he didn't really know how to defend the position too well. Maybe he doesn't. It was just a bad night for him, or the feeling of it, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Peyton Talbot just looked like he was a little bit swarmed. He looked like he was drowning a little bit.
Why you bullying me?
Ronnie Barcelos just looked incredible, bro. You know what I mean? You can't underestimate an old dog sometimes, especially when he's coming up against a heavy favourite and a young contender. But there was moments where Peyton Talbot on the feet looked like, damn, like if he catches him with that power, he is going to knock him out. Like, so he did have his moments. I can't take it fully away from Peyton Talbot. He did have times. It's going to be interesting. He'll come back. He's young, you know what I mean? And again, a lot of people say that a loss is a good thing. You learn from it, you come back stronger. So I'm looking forward to seeing Peyton Talbot back in there. Ronnie Barcelos, bro. Woo! Mate, for an underdog, like I say, that was an incredible fight. He was just like, nope, this young gun ain't getting it done. Boom. Let's move on to the next one, people. So we got on to the main card of the evening, and we started off with Kevin Holland versus Renato de Ridder. Now, again, I picked Kevin Holland in this one. I thought his striking's just going to be a little bit too much. He's got the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I thought his grappling should be able to have enough defense in it that Renato de Ridder wouldn't be able to just submit him as soon as he did. But he kind of, you know, I'm not going to say he gave up. He didn't really give up. He was fighting position. He was throwing up triangles. But I thought Kevin Holland was going to do a lot better than he did. Hats off to Renato de Ridder for getting this one so quickly. I mean, Kevin did say to him in the press conference prior to it, I want 2 minutes before you shoot, and this dude just shot straight away. He was like, nope, I ain't waiting. You know what I mean? Went straight in for that takedown almost instantly.
Gotcha, bitch!
When I was looking at this fight, I was looking at the GM3 fight for Renato de Ridder. I was thinking, man, like GM3 took you 3 rounds, and the only reason you won that fight is because he made a mistake. Like, he didn't look like he liked to get hit. We've seen him give up in the past and won via strikes and like literally just give up. And at the same time, what you could kind of say that about Kevin Holland. He gets frustrated quite easily, but perceives that way anyway. And it also looks like at times he's just like, yeah, whatever. Then this one took him down, took his back, and that was all she wrote. So unfortunately for Kevin Holland,
Got him! Got him!
he'll still come back and fight 4-5 times this year. He always does, you know what I mean? So we'll see where that one goes. After that, we had Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. And again, this isn't bringing up anything for me. I can't see anything on the board. All I've got here is Jailton Almeida and Sergey Spivak. So I had Jailton Almeida in this one. I thought he was just going to go in and absolutely dominate, do the weigh and pray things like he always bloody does.
Boring!
But that wasn't the case, bro. Like, Sergey Spivak came in, and this dude was lean. Probably the leanest I've ever seen Sergey Spivak come into a fight. You know what I mean? He looked damn in shape, and he looked incredible. He started putting Almeida on the back foot. His striking was good. He even took Almeida down and had the control on top of him for a little while until Almeida had a lovely sweep, managed to get back up, a wicked counter right, cracked him with that, took him down, and then done the Almeida thing. You know what I mean? Managed to get through that fight and get the victory in that one. So he finished him in, I can't even see now. Was it the first round? I believe it was the first round. We'll say it was the first round. UFC. Fix your website, boys. Like, this is jokes. I want to be able to see this stuff. I was up from 5 a.m. in the morning, the day, like yesterday, 10-hour shift at work, come home and daddy duties, and then 11 p.m. till 6 a.m. watching these fights. So apologies, people. when you're up for over 24 hours, it doesn't always stick. And when you get banger after banger after banger after banger, it just doesn't stay in. So maybe I should just be like 7 a.m. bang, let's get this done. But like I say, I haven't done one of these for a minute. I haven't done a little solo recap for a while. So I thought, why not? I've got a bit of time today. Missus and the kids are out. Sit down. Let's get it done. And I'm going to try and get back to these a little bit more. Get back to me roots. You know what I mean? This is what I started doing to begin with. So we moved on to Yuri Prochaska versus Jamahal Hill. I picked Yuri Prochaska in this one. But I was going back and forth. Like, Yuri likes to get hit.
Who's laughing now?
He will come through the flames. He will come through the fire just so he can land whatever it is that he wants to do. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if Jerry knows what he wants to do.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
Half the time, Yuri Prochaska is just throwing random stuff out of left field. Just doesn't, like, it's, but there's technique to it. You know what I mean? There's power to it. It's wild. But I don't even think, how difficult must it be to fight somebody that doesn't even know what they're going to do themselves? But Jamal Hill, bro had a chip on his shoulder after that Pereira fight. He's been arguing everybody's back and forth on Twitter. And it was interesting to see how he was going to come into this one. He is wicked at counter-striking. He's got a lovely right hand down the pipe. He's got the power in his hands to knock people out too. We've seen him do it before. And this was one of those, like, it's going to go either way. The amount that Yuri likes to get hit played into Jamal's hands. First round, Yuri for me, all the way. I thought it was an unbelievable first round. A little bit of a feeling out process at the start. But once they got flowing, these boys were swinging. I think it even dropped Hill in that first round too. Cracked him, put him on his ass. Hill done well, got back up and just started throwing straight back at him again. Unreal. Moved into that second round. Jamal Hill started picking up the pace, finding his rhythm, catching Yuri too, you know what I mean? And then as we moved into that third round, bro, Yuri Prochaska with the biggest, dirtiest right hook you've ever seen in your life, drops Jamal Hill again, and that was it. Jumps on him. Like, if you go down in front of this brother, you are done. This dude smells blood, you know what I mean? He's got that samurai spirit. Smells that blood, dives on you. He ain't going to let up, and he just starts laying into this dude until that was it. Ref jumps in and says, boom, fight's done. Stop. Let's move on. 2 minutes in, or 1 minute and 59 seconds in to that third round. Yuri Prochaska gets the victory. What I do want to say, though, is does Yuri Prochaska versus Alex Pereira really excite people that much? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yuri's always exciting to watch. Big Shama is always exciting to watch. But we've seen it twice. It's been the same result twice. Well, you know what? 3 times, 4 times, until Yuri gets a win. I mean, Yuri could do it. If he can land on him, he could knock him out. Like, I mean, he'll land on him, but I don't know. He's talked about there's some voodoo going around that fight. It was like he's got some weird aura about him when you walk in there, and he's using spirits and whatever else. So maybe that plays in his head too much because he's such a spiritual dude. Because then he goes in there against Rakic. Rakic was lighting his legs up too, and then he gets the victory out and like bam, and just flips it and goes, "That's it, we're done." We go into this one, it's 1-1 moving into the third. Bam, got you, son. Like, if he can get that on Polatan, he could get the win. But is there that much value in that third fight? I mean, obviously, we seen last night announced Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev. Ankalaev is finally getting his shot. He's been waiting for so long. He is finally getting his shot.
How long I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself, yeah.
Will Alex Pereira be able to knock out Ankalaev? Will Ankalaev do something that we don't see him do that often and utilize the grappling, because that is clearly going to be a weakness in Alex's game? And will he secure the victory? And if he gets that title, who is then going to fight Ankalaev? It'll be a little while anyway. Would Jerry get the call up? Would he get the shot? Or if Alex wins, are they going to let somebody else get a shot? Or are they going to put Jerry back in there? Maybe, don't get me wrong, I'm going to watch it. I'm not lying. I'm going to watch it. Like, we're all going to watch it if there is a third fight. I just don't feel like there's that much value in it. We've seen it twice already. I don't know if I see it going any other way. And I'm a big Yeri fan. Love him. You know what I mean? The dude's phenomenal. But I don't know. There's something about that fight. I can't see him winning it at all. Anyway, let's move on to the co-main event of the evening, people. Merab Dvalishvili versus Umar Nurmagomedov.
Umar Nurmagomedov, ladies and gentlemen.
Bro. So this one was one I went back and forth on. And I thought the wrestling was kind of going to negate each other. You know what I mean? Umar's wrestling's pretty good. Merab's wrestling's really good. Like, we know that. Merab's got the cardio. He's called the machine for a reason. He will keep on going. He will not give up. He is relentless. I just knew that the takedown threat wasn't going to be as often as what you would see with somebody else. And then when you go down to the striking, you get to the bare bones. Umar Nurmagomedov is a far better striker than Merab. Kickboxing wise, like some of the kicks that dude was throwing, man. Like even the low kicks kept landing. Striking looked really good. But then when the numbers came up on screen, Merab was landing more significant strikes. Like he wasn't throwing as much volume. Umar was going for it. And there was the first 1 and 2 round 1 and 2, absolutely going for it. And I scored it for Umar in round 1 and 2. Now, like I say, when I saw those come up, we had this definitive round coming up, round 3. Right. Whoever takes this round, it's all out war, unless it goes down to some mad judging, which, if you looked at the judges' scorecard, one of them gave it for Merab in that first round. I don't know how they scored it for Merab in the first round. I think everybody around the world thought Umar got that first round. And then we move into the third round. Merab starts putting it on him a little bit. You know what I mean? He starts managing to win in the grappling exchanges. He's landing his strikes. Umar seems like he's gassing a little bit. And I did say to people before this, we get into that 4th and 5th round, and that's where you're going to see Umar really struggle and Merab really start showing his game. You know what I mean? That championship mentality, the warrior, you know what I mean? The machine came out and started doing what he needed to do. So Umar, as predicted, started gassing, moving into the 4th and 5th round. He was still there. He was still throwing. Khabib was going mental in the corner. Khabib was like, come on, bro. He was screaming. He was screaming at the dudes in the corner, getting frustrated with them. Screaming at Umar through the side of the cage whilst Merab was there. And so Merab won the 3rd. I then had Merab win in the 4th. I was going 2-2 going into the 5th round. This is it. You know what I mean? And Khabib knew it was it too. He was slapping the fucking cage. He's telling Umar, like, basically, come on, don't let him bully you, son. You need to pull this shit out of the fire. And then Umar goes in there and Merab just starts toying with him, bro. Absolutely, like, playing to the crowd, talking to people behind the cage. Surprised he didn't kiss his back or do any of that. Maybe a bit more disrespectful. Like, maybe Sean O'Malley you can have that mess around with. You don't mess around with that kind of stuff with these brothers. You know what I mean? These brothers are, hey, brother, you don't do that. You know what I mean? But Merab Dvalishvili is the champ for a reason. Like, bro's just got it. Bro has absolutely got it. And then his post-fight press conference, I'm sure he said he got this fight 6 weeks out. Didn't want to do it. He wanted to do it in March. And then he was thinking, oh, maybe it'll be after March. No, UFC pushed it forward to go for this time. And Merab said that he actually he broke his back, or he injured his back. He broke his back. He didn't intend to go in there and do any striking. Said he didn't go in there and intend to do any wrestling. He said, I wanted to go in there and I wanted to hurt him. I wanted to punch him. I think all the smack talk back and forth. Merab playing it up a little bit. Umar not really biting and being a bit cool. But I think as that fight went on and it started getting into those later rounds, it did start playing on Umar. You could see he was getting a little bit frustrated. So yeah, back to the drawing board for Umar Nurmagomedov. Don't think that's the end for him. He'll be back again for a title challenge one day. Merab Dvalishvili, though, where does he go from here? Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, Umar Nurmagomedov. Who's next? Who's he gonna go and fight next as a title contender? Like this dude's gonna defend for a little while. I don't see him moving up. Don't see him moving up a weight class. I don't know if he could cut weight and maybe move down and see if he can go for a. I mean, a lot of them like to go champ. But what I did respect about Merab is he's sitting here saying, I want to sit here, I want to defend it, I want to fight against the best, and I want to defend this belt for a long time. Respected that. First dude that hasn't started shouting after 1 or 2 title fights that he wants to go for a champ status. So big shout out to Merab on that one. But unbelievable fight, back and forth, 5 rounds. Merab's cardio really did just make the difference as they went into those later rounds. Let's move on to the main event of the evening. Now, like I say, this was supposed to be armantsarukyan. That man dropped out, unfortunately, due to a bad back. Whether it's broken, how injured it was, I don't know. Dana didn't seem best pleased about it. Like I said, Dana said he's back of the queue. You got to go and fight a couple more times, kid, before you're coming back here. He said that people from the PI went down, and that doctors went down, and they said, "What? So do you think he could have fought?" And he was like, "You'll need to ask Arman that." So I think in Dana's head he's going like, "Kid, you just lost your opportunity because you got a bit of a sore back." And I mean, a lot of people could be like, "Oh well, that's the privilege because he's like daddy's boy, living off daddy's money and all the rest of it." So, oh, you got a little bit of a sore back.
I don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
Don't give a fuck.
Merab had a broken back, son. Just came in and defended his title against an absolute fucking demon in Umar Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean? Kickboxing on that dude is insane. Merab still turned up and done it. Islam Makhachev anyway. Renato Moicano. Islam, absolute stud. You know what I mean? Gets the phone call saying Sarukyan's out. Renato Moicano was coming in. And apparently he goes, "Brother, I'm the champion. I'm going back to bed. Doesn't matter who I fight. I'll see you in the morning." Boom. Went straight back to bed. Got up. Stood on business. You know what I mean? Renato Moicano then came in as the biggest underdog on the card, and Islam Makhachev was the biggest favorite. After Peyton Talbot was that all week, maybe the 2 weeks leading up to the fight. So we get in there, opening round, bro. Moicano was looking good. He was fresh on his feet. He was bouncing, and he dropped him. Let's see if they actually counted it as a knockdown. That would be the interesting point. Did they? No, they did not. Unless that's not been updated, but the rest of it has. But he dropped him. He clipped him. He dropped Islam Makhachev. I was like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's going to have the range. You know what I mean? But Islam striking and all the rest of it. Like, he's the GOAT. And as Dana White has now finally admitted, begrudgingly it seemed a little bit, he is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world right now. You know what I mean? And the dude's defended his belt 4, 5 times now against an unbelievable roster. Like, he has surpassed Khabib. Khabib said years ago when he was retiring, he had Islam next to him. He said, "This is the dude. This is the kid. He's going to be the next lightweight champion, and he's even better than me." You know what I mean? And look at him now. Absolutely destroying it. I know he wants to move up. He wants to move up to welterweight, and he wants to go for that champ status too. Whether they go with that next, or whether they look at somebody else, Charles Oliveira is knocking at the door. Who else could be there? Like, there's a few people at lightweight that he could still fight. You know what I mean? Like, the contenders in lightweight, being the Shark Tank division that it is, are never short. Never going to run out of contenders for the lightweight title. But Renato Moicano, bro, he couldn't afford to lose and he lost, but I'm sure he got paid. Bro. Like, that Renato Moicano, Beneil Dariush fight would have been really good for him. Maybe this was just a little bit too early. But again, you're given this opportunity, you take it. You don't squander it. You don't say, no, I'll just stick with my opponent. I don't want that. I'm not ready for that yet. You show your willing. You show your game. You step up on very, very short notice. No game plan thinking I'm going to be fighting Islam Makhachev. Obviously, when they train for 5 rounds all the time, even if they're only fighting 3. Just the length of the training is what they do. But Renato Moicano stepped up the plate, walked in there, dropped the pound-for-pound #1, and then, as everybody's seen it going, within 55 seconds, Islam was just like, right, caught me. Nah, we ain't playing these games. I'm going to go and do what I need to do and just do what I do. You know what I mean? So he took him down. Renato started trying to defend a little bit, trying to get the butterfly hooks in. And then he managed to get back to his feet, I think, for a split second. Then he went down again. Oh, no, he was trying to get back to his feet. He kind of scrambled up a little bit and he left his head hanging out. Islam locked in that Darce choke quicker than you can say boo. I tell you that. You know what I mean? This dude, once he gets the arm around your neck, once he actually locks that up, cinches it in, turns around, had his arms between his legs. So, like, there was no way Renato was getting out of that. It was tight. He just tapped. It's like as soon as he could. It was unfortunate. You could see he was a bit disappointed in his own performance. But, bro, you stepped up. You got paid. You haven't lost any stock, I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's going to know that was maybe just a bit too soon for him to go for a title fight, especially on that short notice. Let's get him back out there. Let's see what set up the Beneil Dariush fight again. Go and get 1 or 2 more fights under your belt. And he's right back there challenging for that title again. And with a proper camp and more time, it might look a little bit different. And now he's kind of felt the strength. He's kind of felt what it feels like to be getting choked out by Islam. He might go away and have the camp of his life and come back and put on one hell of a performance. So, wicked card, all in. You know what I mean? Unbelievable card all the way through that night. Let's just have a little jump back and we'll go back to this screen. So, UFC 311 in a whole. First pay-per-view of 2025. Absolutely loved it. Phenomenal. Bottom to top. Even though my picks were garbage all night. And again, I think that was a bit of a problem for everybody. It was incredible. It was a wicked, wicked night. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. I think we've got a couple of weeks off now. So, as I'm saying, people, if you're new here, make sure you drop that subscription. I am on 906 subs. I'm only 94 away from hitting that 1K point. So get in there, drop a sub, drop a like on the video, check out my other content. I'm going to be trying to line up some more interviews and get back to doing those. I'm always doing stuff with the boys. We're collaborating with everybody that I mentioned earlier. Make sure you're following the Fight Week show, Crossover, MMA Anomaly, Making the Walk, S-Dogs MMA, Head Kick Pod, all of them. You know what I mean? Great content, great group of guys. Can't wait to actually get out to a show and meet them one day. But yeah, drop them all a follow too. And on a Wednesday, we have Dust Up Shakedown. On the Friday, we do the prediction show where we break down the card, discuss our picks, and then we move in. And quite often, whether it's a fight night or most of the time, whether it's a pay-per-view, we'll do a watch-along. So jump into a watch-along sometime, people. Come and join us. Get in the chat. And let's start grooving, yeah? I mean, let's start showing and flowing in that chat box, folks. Anyway, I'm starting to do what the Rambling Dad does, ramble. So, boom. Thanks for watching. That's my recap of UFC 311. Up until next time, people. Peace.
What's going on, people? Arnold Allen here. Make sure you subscribe to the Rambling Dad podcast. Keep up to date with all his MMA content, fight breakdowns, interviews, and all that stuff. Give him a follow, give him a subscription, and yeah, let's get over there.